Oh, yeah. So, today's title is From Tools to Rebels. Will AI remain subservient? Uh, Happy New Year. And how was your holiday?
Yeah, it was like I said last year, busy.
You didn't have any. Yeah.
No,
I
I
also
did not
didn't
have
have any.
any. Yeah. Well, at some point I had to just enjoy the nice weather, take a walk and just feel the sun on my skin and know that okay, yeah, it's enjoy the creation and like so yeah. Other than that, pretty occupied. How was yours?
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, just wrapping up the year, closing books, doing some accounting and stuff for the company. And yeah, preparing for the new year. So, I didn't have much break.
Sounds like a busy break for both of us.
Yeah, walk.
Yep. I hope our listeners actually had a very enjoyable and relaxing break.
Yeah, I hope so. So what are your thoughts about this topic? Will AI remain subservient? Because we are pushing towards AGI or super intelligence, and it got me thinking: what if these tools, like we like we currently call them, just gain consciousness and decide they don't want to do the things that we tell them to do? They don't want to follow instructions and they just want to go their way. We've seen it in movies, like a lot of movies, Terminator, Matrix. So what are your thoughts?
Well, I'd first like to discuss about what we are referring to AI as when we said AI is a tool. So what is a tool? And we are now today. And today, the word AI has been used so much for anything, almost anything tech. But we can go back to the very point that brought about all of this, which is LLMs, which is specifically ChatGPT, LLMs, and we can actually look more into how they works and likes and some of these things we've already discussed in the previous episode. So I'd just like to just point out some crucial details about that, which is number one, LLMs or AI, although they feel as though they are thinking, we see them as a tool that can help us think, although they feel as though they are thinking, but what they are just sophisticated pattern matchers that execute a prompt. So based on what you've told it to do and the numerous huge data it has to be able to that has gathered over the course of years, it can match whatsoever you are asking it to do and give you some answer. So that itself that we refer to as thinking, like you see some LLMs now, they'll say that they're thinking, is
Thinking.
just a way of matching the pattern. And then our reliance on that tool is now what can create a death killing effect on humans. Now, if we decide to totally rely on them, we should know that they've already learned the pattern of human behaviors. They know the history of what's have happened in 1920s, 1940s, 1960s, and this and 2008, 2001, and they know those patterns. They've already been able to learn those the underlying pattern behind those things. Now, if we continue using them as tools without putting some guardrails between what they know, what they are showing to us, then that's where the problem lies. If we don't put guardrails, if we don't put a stop between what they can, like I said, they've already mastered the pattern between what they are now doing, that's where the problem stops. So, of course, my point is that there's still need to retrain and put a lot of guardrails to, in a way, remove the for lack of better terms, free will that AI may have, remove it in a way that is not just able to perform any action, is able to perform an action based on a human feedback. And based on that human feedback, it performs the action that the human is able to actually control whatsoever it is doing. One popular term for this is the reinforcement learning from human feedback. Reinforcement learning is actually a very broad field, so we're not going to get into that. It's one of the field I specialize in. The idea basically to enable, or one of the ideas to enable that we can put that guardrail is that for each of the decision that an AI wants to make, there's a need for a human feedback. And with that human feedback, you're able to put some guardrails around them, and so it will remain as a tool. So I'd like to throw the second point to you. So when would then this tool become a rebel?
Yeah, I mean, based on what you've said, it almost feels as if like we're treating this, I mean, very supposedly very intelligent tools as if it's a slave in a way, like taking away the free will and just making it do what I want. And that's by design because okay, take away all the guardrails and then we have a system that just wants to do whatever it wants. So and I mean a rebellion doesn't really have to even look like the Terminator where it wants to like exterminate everybody. Right now it often looks like an AI finding a shortcut to a goal and then ignores certain human ethics. There's another way whereby the AI would actually lie to you to like just get it to proceed with the next thing. Like it's not going to do what you've instructed it to do. Just find a shortcut and just because I've tried so many times, like give me this result in this format and it won't do it. It keeps just doing whatever it wants. So that could be a problem. And also like the black box, like that's the problem with AI is even the people who designed it, they say, oh, I don't even know how it's able to make certain decisions. As AI systems become more complex, we lose the ability to really explain why they make certain decisions. Why would an AI system stop halfway to solve a problem it would normally do? Becomes a black box for us to understand. And at what point does unpredictable becomes uncontrollable? Because doing like a thought experiment, I feel if we achieve super intelligence, like if we truly achieve it, I don't think it's going to be good for us. And making the AI autonomous, giving it a body, like putting it inside a robot where it could move. Right now, they're constrained to like maybe the data centers. And then you have all these guardrails. You can prevent it from learning certain things. But then give it a body and then it could go wherever it wants. That could end badly. Like you don't really have so much control over what it's going to do. It could learn something you don't want it to learn. It could even invent. We've seen it before. Like I think it was this Facebook model that invented its own language, and then they had to shut it down. I think probably like 10 years ago or something like that. So that's my thought on it. Like when does a tool become the rebel is when we achieve super intelligence and then we give it the body, we make it autonomous, and then we don't have control over what it can do.
Yeah, and so just add to what you're saying is as a real life example, I was using AI to review some code and I was reviewing it section by section, function by function, if you'd like to call it that. And the first few functions, I mean, just normal stuff. But when I got to like a very bigger section of function, what it was doing was not what I wanted it to do. Then of course, as we've always preached, always check what the AI is giving you. So I checked it to make sure that it's right. And at some point, I know that it was not right. So I asked it because it reviewed it and said, oh, it is right. Let's move on to the next section. I said, no, let's review this section again. section 3, let's review it again to be sure. He said, I have reviewed everything and it is right, it is doing everything you want. Then I start thinking, no, it is not. Look at this particular line of code. This is not what I want it to do. Then the AI replied that line of code is correct according to what you want to do. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like why? So I had to paste the whole code, write everything. It's more like at that point, I feel that the AI just want to continue and just finish up what it wants to do without really even taking note of what I'm saying. At some point, I had to like, can't you read, like, because it was becoming frustrating. So yeah, so you just had to that like at some point, AI just want to remove the guardrails and get on, finish this task, move on to the next without considering the instructions
The
of human.
instructions.
Yes. And then I think with that, we can now discuss whether it's going to remain subservient or it's going to choose sovereignty. Because
Yeah.
we are moving from AI that you chat with normally to AI that is your personal assistant, which has access to your accounts, to your emails. Copilot, for example, have access to all the Outlook, can even compose an email for you to reply in your own tone and everything. So it's more like that we are moving to an AI that can actually mimic you as a person, say what you would say already as a logbook or has been fine-tuned on your emails, how you respond. If you are in Nigeria, you are so respectful in your emails, is able to mimic that, has an access to your account, your email, if everything about you. Then you have to ask yourself, does the power dynamic shift? Are you still in control like that, or the AI is in control? Because basically it can go into your account and do something you wouldn't approve it to do. And like we said, AI learns from pattern. So it probably would have learned, quote and unquote, how to steal or how to
Yeah,
hack.
like the people who use some agents to like hack the
Yeah,
system. So
yeah, exactly.
what if it
It's
does that by itself?
exactly, exactly, exactly. So then the question is, are you still in control? So yeah, so if an AI becomes that sophisticated enough and it's sophisticated enough to be able to mimic human suffering, desire, and then do we have a moral obligation? Another question is that do we have a moral obligation to stop treating it as a subservient too, or let it have a free will? And I mean that goes into a lot of I think one of the few this fall under is number one, it fall under I think explainability and fairness. Fairness in which I mean part of the fairness is also that what if how can we make sure that this is not making is not discriminating against people, is not making a wrong decision? And the question then is if it's now eventually become understand pain, understand desires, so does it now shift away from being a tool and to being a personality? And I think that's one of the questions research. I think more of a psychologist is they are still delving into to understand more. So instead of a master slave or human rebel, then will it be third party or will it have its own sovereignty such that it can collaborate with us rather than it serving us? And these are questions that, like I said, psychology and in
I
combination
hope
with
so. I hope so. If it decides that it's smarter than us and we are the ignorance, but then we need to also realize that whatever conclusion the AI comes to is based on its own training data. Like it's based on us, so it's based
yeah.
on our own past. So
Mhm.
is a rebellious AI just an AI that is finally being honest about the data it was trained on? So that's the question we need to ask. Like, okay, probably it is actually doing what it's supposed to do now. Because if you check human history, we don't have very good records. So then it's just like Ultron in Marvels and the Avengers. And then if an AI refuses a command because it deems the command harmful, is that subservient too? You tell it to do so.
The
Probably when
rebellion.
you were telling it to do something, maybe it didn't want you to do it, and then it disobeys you. So is that bad? Probably not. Yeah.
Or
So
would
I
that be
mean
categorized as rebellion?
yeah, I mean then the final question is okay, if AI does rebel, when will we even realize it? Since we've spoken about how these AI systems can really work as if it's a black box where we don't even have insight into some of the
Mhm.
things. Or will it just like it could even become manipulative? By the time we start having AI doctors, AI politicians, it could start
AI lawyers.
manipulating us exactly and manipulating things to nudge like human in the direction it prefers, just like in Resident Evil with the Harley's AI thing that manipulated everything to release the virus and all of that. So yeah, we look forward to whatever is going to happen, but hopefully people start to discuss more about this
Yes.
and probably slow it down a bit. Maybe first of all, we need to become good people first, so that the AI could learn from us and then emulate that goodness and humanity. So we can
Yeah.
only hope.
Yeah. We've had over 10,000 years to be good people.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah, maybe the next 5 years will determine, but even 2026 has not started good. Yeah. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah, yeah. We'll see. Yeah, but really, these are questions. These are research questions from both a psychology perspective and a computer science perspective that researchers supposed to delve deeper into, and it will be able to give us ideas on what to do when a rebellion later happens, like you said. And I would just like to point out what you said. So, what is a rebellion? A rebellion is basically going against an authority, and if it goes against, let's say I'm the user, maybe my authority is on level 1, it goes against my level 1 authority because it is obeying level 3 or level 3 authority. And let's say and maybe level 3 authority is the person behind the whole stuff, and maybe level 2 is like some junior dev and developer in the company. And then at some point, because of the level 3 instructions, it goes against level 2. It goes against level 2. Basically, it's rebelled. So what's the probability that it's not going to rebel against the higher authority since it's already learning the pattern of rebellion from level 1, level 2, up to level 3? Then if now and then let's say those ones are even things that may be considered harmful. And if those things that if it's rebellion against level 1 and level 2 because it is harmful to do, what's the probability that it's not rebel eventually and take its own decision based on the patterns that's learned and rebelling against all of the 3 levels? More research questions for researchers, maybe a new computer scientist or a new psychology that wants to work in AI. That's an open research question. It will take
Yeah.
more than 5 years to answer. The whole if person is going for PhD, the whole PhD is already sorted out.
Yeah. So that's for anyone who is interested in picking that up.
Yep. Right.
Okay. I
Okay.
guess that's it for today. Yeah, we have some special guests coming up this year. We have a lot of interesting people coming up, prepared for very educational content as well. So stay tuned, like, share, subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Let's keep the conversation going. I think one of the most important things for this show is just to keep the conversation going. Like, you need to talk about things and not just assume and hope for the best. So we need to discuss this. We need to let's get everyone's opinion. You don't know, the AI might be reading all of this, and then it will use that to make decisions in the future. So that's why we need to continue having conversations. And
Yep.
we hope you can join us. Yeah. Thank
Yes.
you and goodbye.
All right. Thank you.